MAGA Metal. It's horrendous, hilariously bad, problematic, and 100% real. I wanted to start off the video nicely and just go right into it with some of the artists, but then this happened.
Congresswoman Victoria Spartz entered my father's biography into the congressional record today. So
wow.
Yeah.
Recently, Jack Osbourne was in an interview proclaiming that musicians and entertainers should not be political. They were in Washington, D.C. while Ozzy's autobiography was put into the National Library of Congress. Jack would go on to say that entertainers should STFU and not give any political thoughts.
Are you guys political at all?
You know what? I think celebrities just need to keep their mouths shut.
Oh,
make entertainment, entertain the people, shut the f*** up.
Keep in mind that day, the family was seen with current Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, known for his right-wing extreme ideas against women's rights and a big proponent of the MAGA lifestyle. Jack Osbourne said all that in front of his mother, who is wildly political.
Don't you think if you have a platform and you've got like a big opinion, you should maybe use your platform to change hearts and minds, maybe?
Then be a politician, don't be an entertainer.
Then keep in mind, Ozzy Osbourne famously made anti-war songs and called out the evils of politicians. Ozzy even put out cease and desist orders toward Republican campaigns who tried to use his music. But when Jack Osbourne and family were invited by a Republican Congress member to receive an honor on behalf of Ozzy, this is the result. The Osbournes with a Klan member, Speaker of the House. This isn't just a problem with the hypocrisy, it's a problem with politics influencing music. It's awful that it's coming from the family of such a force in metal, but the problem now is that MAGA metal is a plague, and statements like this will make things much worse.
I think celebrities just need to keep their mouths shut. Make entertainment, entertain the people, shut the f*** up. Be a politician, don't be an entertainer.
I'm a proponent for musicians being political and getting your message across, but when your message is completely hate-filled, racist, sexist, homophobic, problematic, that's when I have some problems.
Donald Trump is a felon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Felon, correct me if I'm wrong, can't own a gun.
No.
But if he gets in, he can't own a gun, but he could start World War III on his own.
Ozzy Osbourne was no saint, but he knew who to stand up against, and that included Trump and MAGA. Ozzy would have told every politician in this photo to F off right to their face. But here's Jack, Sharon, and the family all shoulder to shoulder with smiles on their faces. That's not great. MAGA metal is a problem for several reasons, and it's mostly because of the people ruining and manipulating the right-wing fan bases, not the MAGA rock and metal fans themselves. Mostly. That MAGA fan base and the rock and metal fan base does have some overlap, and while it's not huge, the overlap has become an extremely vocal minority, especially on social media. Mainly Facebook, where the average age is 50 and the average education is junior high, and the average favorite bands are classic rock artists. The MAGA fan base also is known for two things when it comes to music. One, screaming that musicians should shut up when a band or artist makes a statement or song that goes against Trump, and two, loving when Kid Rock or Aaron Lewis makes a statement about Trump and the current U.S. administration in a positive light. The irony is not seen. They don't get it.
How fucking great was his speech when he fucking called out everybody standing behind him? Don't ever forget, this is our fucking country.
The spirit of rock and metal is rooted in rebellion, anti-war, anti-greed, anti-authority. Black Sabbath wrote War Pigs about Vietnam. Rage Against the Machine spent all of the 90s pointing out the problems in both sides of the American political field and calling out the evils of the elite. The MAGA movement is completely embezzled in greed, loves authority to the point of removing rights of citizens, loves getting rid of anyone that is not Casper White, and is continuing wars around the world. All this while MAGA musicians like Aaron Lewis and others perform in MAGA hats.
Biden does, the media embraces. Big Don does it and they call him racist.
These musicians are fully supporting a political figure that runs on division and greed and gluttony. And the MAGA fan bases hoot and holler along because an American flag is flown in the background. Sometimes a Confederate flag. That's what many MAGA fans really want, but thankfully we're not that far back in time at the moment.
David Allen Cole with no show Jones. Yeah!
You cannot be metal or punk or even rock while lying down to be walked on by the boots you just licked. You cannot support the evils currently going on in the nation while blasting American Badass, a stolen song by the way, and also claim you have a rock and roll spirit. You don't. And you definitely don't care about the music you claim to support. It's a terrible movement filled with bigots. Speaking of bigots,
Future. Fuck your iPhone, yeah! You can post this, you can post this, you can post this dick right now. You fucking but with your phones.
when it comes to MAGA, Kid Rock wears the crown for musicians, or gold-encrusted white hood. He's pandered and chased trends for years, and his total dependence on the MAGA audience makes sense as he puts in the bare minimum music-wise and just relies on riling up America and freedom and let's go Brandon and money and attention. It worked. So much of it is performance for the MAGA crowd, so they'll keep supporting him, even if he lip syncs badly. You remember when he badly shot up a Bud Light case in the backyard because it was Pride Month? That's what triggered him. Literally triggered, with his own automatic weapon he owns and doesn't know how to use.
Fuck Bud Light and fuck Anheuser-Busch. Have a terrific day.
With artists like Kid Rock, the music is inconsequential. I mean, as well as being awful, but Kid Rock has a career now based solely on groveling to Donald Trump, while Trump just cheers it on. Kid Rock shows are now glorified GOP rallies and extended family reunions where they all try to hit on each other's cousin, which is also their own cousin. The family tree does not fork.
You fuck with Trump, you fuck with me.
Kid Rock is not even a rebel, even though he flies the failed rebel flag. He's not rebelling, he's sucking up. I've said don't listen to Kid Rock for years, whether it's regarding the songs about statutory or his many, many anti-gay speeches and songs, or that he just steals most of the material, or because he's in his 50s and still wants to be called Kid. I'll get back to Kid Rock in a moment, but now let's move on to another MAGA rock star in Aaron Lewis, who definitely represents the angry drunk racist at a southern bar. Never mind that he's from Massachusetts and was not born poor, but he loves to pander to the small and southern towns to act like he's one of them. Lewis has ended a lot of stage shows, and especially his own solo tours supporting MAGA and Trump, many of which while he was openly drunk on stage.
Drunk enough outside right now. And instead I'm playing the fucking song I already played tonight.
Aaron Lewis is extremely anti-immigration and he's anti-Hispanics in general. He also loves his guns more than any person could ever love an inanimate object. He's the prime representation of MAGA metal and Jan 6th rock. Lewis also spent a lot of time with anti-vaccine campaigns and false information telling people ivermectin works for everybody. Take that for what it's worth. Stain's reputation has forever been stained, but the bigger problem is that Aaron Lewis keeps going on Trump bootlicking rants and raging against immigrants. It also doesn't help that his solo music, both rock and country, is overwhelmingly awful. Just this month, he released a country song, Give My Country Back, to which I ask, who are you wanting it back from? Your hero is in office with a full MAGA government in charge. Who are you wanting it back from? You want your country more white? Then again, I should not ask questions to a man who writes lines like this, thinking he's smart.
I don't mind you leaving, hell I'll leave and help you pack.
The fact that people still defend Aaron Lewis as a good songwriter and lyricist is total brainwashed nostalgia. Speaking of brainwashed, Aaron Lewis has a Not Brainwashed merch line now. Do I even need to explain how awful this is? Aaron Lewis, MAGA defender and immigrant hater, wants people to wear Not Brainwashed shirts. He wants his fans to wear shirts that say Not Brainwashed. It's the type of logic from someone that would say, if I was brainwashed, I'd be the first to know about it. And I'm not. Now shut up. Fox and Friends is on, and those are the only friends I have. He also made the song Am I the Only One, defending Trump in a terrible time where Trump was going through his off-season between presidential runs. That has some dog-whistly racism in it, just like Aaron Lewis in general at this point. Lewis also said he was getting blacklisted by radio because he was outspoken for Trump. Now it's possible that his solo music and new Stain music isn't getting played because it's not good.
Shut the f*** up!
Aaron Lewis, the angriest man at a small town bar, screaming his head off about America, while he himself is a millionaire and wants to convince everyone that he's not brainwashed. Let's get into more metal territory now. What MAGA metal represents. Phil Labonte, while forever tweeting that he's a proud libertarian, also proudly represents the manosphere. Never has a metal singer with so much anger and small man syndrome been so outspoken on how real men should act. All That Remains was a pillar of metalcore 20 years ago, and now it's a pinnacle of 4chan users and incels. Talk about how Phil Labonte isn't MAGA all you want. The man is definitely supported by MAGA metal lovers, and Labonte isn't shying away from them. Labonte is a co-host on the extreme right-wing Timcast from time to time, and Labonte has gone on record supporting gun rights and saying the homosexual community cannot have grievances with being hurt or targeted. Odd take, but he defended it as free speech.
The more difficult it is for illegals to live in the United States, the harder it is for them to find a place to live. You should take the property. If people are renting to them, take their property. I love it. See it. You're renting to illegals. You know they're illegals. Well, we're taking your house.
His podcast, along with his Twitter rants, definitely paint him as a MAGA metal figurehead, and the metal is secondary. Labonte is also an active part of the right-wing media and propaganda machine at this point, and sadly, he puts more effort into that than any of the All That Remains output over the last 10 years, with a revolving door of members going in and out of the band while Phil sings through his auto-tune and Pro Tools while flashing his guns at home for selfies. I mean, I actually do see why MAGA would like this. Many MAGA manly boys have posed with a gun at home in the mirror. Now we get into the stank of MAGA metal, the flag-bearing Jan 6 representing Five Finger Death Punch. Roughly every year, at least one member of the band says or does something problematic over the past decade, and it doesn't look like that's going to stop even though the band has slowed down with their music output. This group is a magnet for ex-cops, dishonorably discharged military members, and anyone who was accused of beating their wife but was let go because there wasn't enough proof. Go back to Pandemic when they made an anti-mask Attack Pelosi music video, which is really eerie when the Jan 6 riots would happen a few months later. You can go to the many statements about politics and bootlicking that Zoltan Bathory and Ivan Moody have made also, which is weird as Zoltan is an immigrant. The band's bread and butter is military and servicemen pandering. Every live show, every chance they get, they make sure to call out the troops before they phone in another performance in the red states.
How many of you have served or are still serving for the United States military? Keep your hands up. This is no bullshit. I want you to see those hands. And I want you to shake them. Thankful for every one of our God-given freedoms. Fucking A.
Members of Five Finger Death Punch definitely don't do themselves favors online with social media. Ivan Moody has gone on many a boomer rant, and even Chris Cale, as recent as this month, has used being gay and pride as an insult because he's a 13-year-old man with beard extensions. What did you expect? Or you could talk about Zoltan Bathory, who has praised Trump many times, including the statement, he said he will straighten out the country, and if you think about it, real Donald Trump is already delivering that promise by shooting straight. Whether this is something he truly believes, along with the Charge the Capitol and Attack Nancy Pelosi music video, or it's all pandering and a gimmick to get rich off the gullible MAGA testosterone supplement takers, the results are the same. Five Finger Death Punch wear the Monster Energy logo and the red hat with pride. Well, not with pride. They see that as a bad thing because anti-LGBTQ, but their own pride, their own level of pride. Ivan Moody also pointed out he didn't like Zoltan's music video for Living the Dream later on, telling Loudwire, I showed up for 2 days and Zoe told me to run across the grass screaming and holding the American flag. So I was curious to see it. Then when he released it, I called him like, you implemented your own platform into Five Finger Death Punch, and now I'm gonna have to answer for it because I'm the singer. And it ended up going down like a fart in church. So Ivan Moody, who does not let people speak for him, did exactly what he was told and didn't ask questions until it was too late. I mean, that's MAGA behavior in a nutshell, and MAGA metal totally fits with this band. But hey, Kid Rock is a punchline. Aaron Lewis plays state fairs with the solo stuff. Five Finger Death Punch still does pretty well with their tickets in the States and does well overseas where the politics aren't as well versed with MAGA and you can just listen to bro metal solos.
I'm a new soul, working my way down an old road.
Now I want to talk about a group who I don't think is MAGA, but they are definitely in that wheelhouse as of this past year. Shinedown, who just had a big arena tour and are still adding #1 hits to their catalog, was going to be a part of the Rock the Country scam. I mean, Rock the Country Festival. It did not take long for the outpouring of disappointed fans to flood social media about why Shinedown is on a Kid Rock run festival lineup. It was to the point where fans and detractors in the crowd were arguing against each other on every Shinedown post. Then the MAGA delinquents came in. Shinedown saw the problem and backed off the tour, acknowledging that it was creating division, which was not what the band wanted to do. It's good they saw the problem and stepped away, but there was no way Shinedown did not envision something like this happening. Several statements were made. A well-worded one from Brent Smith saying, "I just want to remind everyone, it says the United States of America. United." And a lot of people right now don't feel united. There were certain people that were not happy about pulling back. I will say that there was an overwhelming amount of people that agreed with the decision. You're entitled to your opinion 1000% in this country, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. Barry had a much more dismissive and nonchalant statement with, "I don't care. I'm just going to go play a show. I really, really don't care. You can keep your politics to yourself. I have no opinion one way or the other on Kid Rock. I love his music. This is about music." Keep in mind, this is the man who tried to rip apart Ludacris, who had previously dropped off the Rock the Country scam. So that's kind of awkward. Then Zach Myers made a statement on Jesse Lee's post reporting the news, who was upset that Jesse Lee was reporting about it all, with Facebook comments including, "We saw a bunch of racist dickheads in our comments telling certain people not to show up or else." People in the comments being racist were mouth-breathing bootlickers. And finally, it's not a Kid Rock festival. Bob wasn't even on any of our shows. And more importantly, Bob is a very good friend of mine. What I hate about this is the reaction to the band's choices and lashing out at someone just posting the news, while Zach Myers tries to shut down and dismiss the racists who made Shinedown leave the scam festival while also defending Kid Rock. The same Kid Rock who makes statements like this.
You fucking faggots! With your phones out, we can have a real good time right now. But you motherfuckers want to film this shit, we'll ruin it.
That is MAGA complacency. You are calling out awful behavior when it happens to you, but if it's your friend doing it, you can make money with him and you'll defend him. That's awful. Also, defending Kid Rock in any way should be enough to make you look in the mirror and ask what happened to you as a human. Kid Rock is a bigot and a statutory supporter. Ugh. That's a statement. But that's a different topic. And as MAGA keeps wanting to defend people on the Epstein list, it looks like MAGA metal fans don't mind. The Rock the Country fallout has been apparent with more and more names canceling over the past few months. Even Jelly Roll, who has been supportive of MAGA up until the past few months where he's been trying to be politically avoidant because he keeps getting called out publicly, has dropped off the South Dakota performance and was replaced by Stained. What does all this mean? Well, MAGA wants to support MAGA metal online, but not as much in person, especially in hard-to-reach areas. As the months go by, more problems happen and more names drop off of these festival shows. In and out of rock and metal. That doesn't mean the other shows will not happen. That just means they'll be watered down and less focused on Kid Rock, as that man continues to fight Blue Dot Fever through amphitheaters while calling out anything pro-LGBTQ. Keep in mind, when Kid Rock gets political, MAGA rock and metal fans love it. But when Bruce Springsteen, who has been a voice against the system and oppression, and a man of the people for longer than I've been alive, uses his voice, the MAGA crowd tell him to shut up, even though he's selling out arenas every time he tours.
On the streets of Minneapolis.
Going back to Jack Osbourne's statement on how entertainers should not get political, there's an ongoing blast of musicians who are saying that because they don't want to put their thoughts out there and get in trouble, or have managers yelling at them for losing half their audience, even if it's the problematic half. Even recently, Gene Simmons, a man of integrity and who I think set a record for going 3 days once without backing out of a lie, said that musicians and entertainers should not get political. The issue isn't that music cannot get political, it's the message itself and the quality of music. And there are more musicians getting their thoughts out than people think. There's so many people, big names, talking about we should keep politics out of music.
Yeah.
For and against. Big names. There's so many people on the Rage Against the Machine side.
Yeah.
And those people on the Gene Simmons side saying don't do it. What is Richard Thatcher's
I am all for it.
Okay.
And I think it's really important that people use their voice to say what they want to say. And I haven't been as political as I've been in the past because of the amount of death threats that I got. And I have young children, so I have to really kind of, sadly, they shut me up, which sucks, but I have to be a little bit less political, but it's all in the lyrics, you know, it's all, if you really read my lyrics, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, I love putting that in there, you know, I get to have my say and just jab my thing and do my thing and use my art as my platforms.
Here you have Richard Patrick, who has used his voice to get political in music for years and who has received death threats from the exact audience that this video is about. The man is still telling people that music can be political. It's all about getting your point across well, being honest without pandering. Lamb of God has done this for years and continues to support programs to fight the current system while also supporting charities in their home state of Virginia. Lamb of God and Filter's music, by the way, at their worst, is significantly better than the best of Kid Rock or Aaron Lewis or Five Finger Death Punch. So now we get to the biggest thorn in MAGA metal side, Rage Against the Machine, a band who has not put out new music in over 20 years and hasn't even toured in years, but you will see more boomers, Red State Manosphere keyboard warriors, and flat out Jan 6 supporters go out of their way to type Rage for the Machine as an insult without knowing what they're saying. It's literally all they have. So let's break down some of the Rage Against the Machine events. They were banned after their SNL performance while performing during a Bill Clinton presidency. They performed outside the 2000 DNC to the point of shutting down huge parts of downtown LA in 2000. Rage Against the Machine and all individual members have also never supported or endorsed a US president. But you better believe they'll call out Trump and MAGA for every evil action and moral hypocrisy they can, and that's what MAGA metal fans can't stand. Another argument MAGA has is how Rage Against the Machine are communist. They're not, by the way, and that the group profits off of their music and selling concert tickets while complaining about the system they are going after. Tom Morello, who has a degree from Harvard, talked about this many times, and he is trying to fight for the people who are taking advantage of.
100% of music is political. Music either supports the status quo or challenges the status quo. If you're not questioning authority, you're tacitly submitting to authority. What you say and what you do matters.
But that doesn't matter because it's a band in a capitalist country fighting the elites and extremely wealthy. So here's what Rage Against the Machine did in the 2022 tour to fight the system, including going after the Supreme Court. This tour was not one lump donation. It was a rolling city-specific charitable commitment that played out across every stop. Shows in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona had 100% of profits directed to immigrant rights organizations. Toronto, $180,000 donated. Buffalo, $58,000 donated. Cleveland, $114,000. Pittsburgh, $167,000. Raleigh, North Carolina, $280,000. Washington, D.C., $346,000. Then came the 5-night Madison Square Garden residency in New York City that raised $1 million distributed between the Immigrant Defense Project, Why Hunger, Neighbors Together, and the Campaign Against Hunger. The band noted that donations earlier in the tour to various causes, including abortion access funds, organizations fighting hunger, the Abolitionist Law Center, and Detention Watch Network totaled over $1.5 million before the New York residency even happened. When Roe v. Wade happened, the band didn't release a statement and move on. They pledged $475,000 raised for charity tickets and their Wisconsin and Chicago shows specifically to reproductive right organizations in those states. In a statement, the band wrote, "We are disgusted by the repeal of Roe v. Wade and the devastating impact it will have on tens of millions of people. Over half of this country is likely to ban or seriously restrict abortion very soon, which will have a disproportionate impact on poor, working class, and undocumented BIPOC communities." Also, they showed this during their live sets. I bring all this up because Rage Against the Machine went out of their way to give back to local charities while MAGA bands pander and roll around in the red state money. Also, Rage Against the Machine fought back against scalpers and Ticketmaster to get that money to give back to charity, while Kid Rock complained about Ticketmaster for years until the Trump administration cut a deal with Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and Kid Rock rolled over like a dog and licked MAGA boots.
The FTC and the Department of Justice to go investigate, see what the hell's going on with ticketing. Well, guess what? They investigated, and what happened? They filed a fucking lawsuit against Ticketmaster. Because clearly they found out that those motherfuckers are crooks, and they've been crooks for decades, fucking over the public, fucking over artists.
MAGA metal is a plague, and as we've seen in the pandemic, MAGA metal does not do well with getting rid of plagues. In fact, they invite them in and infect others. So while MAGA names like Kid Rock and Five Finger Death Punch keep pandering in the heavy music scene, the music quality doesn't get better, and you have musicians just going through the motions, which is also a huge problem and why rock and metal are still struggling for growth against other genres. And in front of the MAGA musicians are the MAGA metal fans, who have increasingly shown violent, racist, homophobic, and problematic behavior at concerts and festivals around the country for years now. To bring up the classic example of hypocrisy, GWAR have killed everyone on stage, regardless of political sides. Trump, Hillary Clinton, Elon Musk, Taylor Swift. But it wasn't until this past year that when GWAR disemboweled Trump on stage that GWAR received death threats. MAGA metal fans were so angry and sensitive that they threatened a gimmick band. They don't care about music quality. They don't care about the people getting hurt. They care about Trump and MAGA and the musicians that support MAGA, and it is not going to get better anytime soon, those attitudes or the music quality.
Blue Dot Fever is when the promoters and the agents that work with artists and musicians look at the seat map for the venues and the concerts where they're scheduled to perform and see lots of empty seats.
Another issue is MAGA metal is not doing well in numbers as other acts who are not even political. Sleep Token, Bring Me the Horizon, all coming over and performing sold-out arena tours. Blue Dot Fever is not affecting them, but Kid Rock is lucky to fill 50% of an amphitheater. Aaron Lewis only sees full crowds if it's with Stained, and he isn't allowed to get wasted on stage. And Five Finger Death Punch's popularity has greatly lessened over the years and has to go overseas to get a lot of attention. But it's MAGA metal fans that are just as loud online because the internet makes voices seem equal if they get enough attention and reactions. Same with MAGA metal bands. The music being good doesn't matter. It's how loud your voice and opinion are on something. I still think political stances and personal beliefs can be in music, but when the music becomes truly problematic and inspires racism, homophobia, and violence towards peaceful movements, then it needs to be called out. Cliche of freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences has become lessened with so many terrible MAGA bands and MAGA metal fans getting away with terrible actions. I'll wrap up with this. Support the bands you love, and especially support the bands who are willing to use their music and platforms to fight fascism and terrible behavior. Sooner or later, everyone chooses a side, whether you want to or not. You cannot keep apolitical or avoid the problems around you forever. The music you listen to can help you figure out right from wrong. Make a decision. Do something. You don't have to start big, but you need to start doing something. If you're a real rock and metal fan, you're definitely against what MAGA represents. You cannot be metal, you cannot be punk, you cannot be rock if you're MAGA. Your actions still matter against an evil empire.